Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all know my slogan. I don't know it all, but I know what I've been through. Now, before we get into this video, make sure you check us out on Patreon at www.patreon.com/Hookah Anonymous _. You guys been telling us to create one for the longest, so we recently created a community where we will upload videos that we can't share on YouTube due to their guidelines, and we'll also be dropping the latest to there first, behind the scenes information that you wouldn't find anywhere else on our socials. So make sure you become a member, and after you do that, head over to our official Instagram page at Hookah Anonymous _ and follow us there. Now without further ado, let's get into what you guys came here to see. Now, there's been a few updates within this OTF trial when it comes to not only Lil Durk, but also OTF Dede and the rest of his co-defendants. We're hearing that OTF Dede has filed a motion to get a bond and is looking to be released before a trial is set to happen. And for the millionth time, we're also hearing that the trial date that has been set in August will possibly be pushed back once again. But this time they're saying it's because new evidence shall be presented within the case and additional charges shall be filed. They're also still bringing up the M for hire charge when it comes to the death of Stephon Mack, the same guy who was allegedly behind the demise of Lil Durk's brother, Money Making Dede. Now, throughout this whole situation, we keep hearing people saying that the fact that the trial keeps getting pushed back just goes to prove that the government don't have any concrete evidence against Durk and the rest of the guys, or that the trial getting pushed back is a good sign. But that's not always the case. Now, I don't know what's going on because, as I told y'all in previous videos, something isn't right. For one, I keep bringing up the fact that Muwap and the rest of them who were involved in the FBG duck hit have been charged and convicted already since January of 2024. So it's going on almost 3 years now that these guys were charged and convicted in federal court, and still they haven't been sentenced. Keep that in mind because I'm not even sure of its correlation. However, something just don't sit right. We have these guys who haven't been sentenced, and also this OTF trial continuously getting pushed back. I have a theory that in due time, we might see or find out that somehow, some way, the feds have either connected an informant from one of the guys in the Ducks case, or somehow they are correlating the guys from that case with the OTF trial. But that's just another story. Now, when it comes to OTF Dede getting a bond, as y'all may know already, the feds are considering pushing the trial back yet again. So with them doing so, OTF Dede and his attorneys are filing a motion for the courts to reconsider his bond, because if not, that means he will have to remain in jail until the courts finally agree to actually have this trial. And yes, it sucks because I'm sure that at this point, these guys just want to get this trial over with so they can know their fate. Either they're guilty or not. The more they wait, the more they just have to remain in jail. At least if they get a bond, they can fight their case from the outside, be with their family until it starts, whatever. At least if you're on the outside and you're found guilty, you can at least spend the duration while you wait with your loved ones until the decision is made. But if you stay on the inside, you just have to remain in jail without seeing your family for all this time. Now, according to the court document, Dede's father, sister, and cousin are all putting up a significant amount of money, $140,000 to be exact, in efforts to convince the courts to at least release him until trial. According to the application, it'll state, quote, Mr. Wilson requests release on bond on the following conditions: affidavit of surety with justification, property, stepfather $40,000. 2, affidavit of surety without justification, sister $50,000. 3, affidavit of surety without justification, cousin $50,000. 4, all standard conditions of release. 5, any other conditions the court deems appropriate. Now, if you look at the box that was checked, it will say, quote, a hearing is being sought before Magistrate Judge Maria A. Ordero, as there is new information to be presented that was not considered by the previous judicial officer. And basically, those are the terms that they're basing this release or bond on, hoping that whatever information that they brought to the judge, she takes it into consideration and comply with their offer. Now, we don't know if they are going to grant him that bond, but this is why they say sometimes you have to think before you make decisions that can hurt you in the future, because he may not even be a flight risk. But the fact that Lil Durk was trying to make his way to Dubai before everything happened, and they accuse him of trying to evade arrest, basically, that makes it look bad for his co-defendant on that same case to be granted a bond, because they may feel that he may do the same thing, or at least try. Now, I'm not saying that that's what they may consider within his bond, but it just isn't a good look to the judge, who is the one responsible for granting you that release. Plus, we are finding out now that new charges are being brought upon their case and that's also not a good look. I can't see a judge granting a bond knowing that there's a possibility that he may or may not be involved in new charges. However, let's get into the new charges that they are talking about, which also means that the trial will be delayed yet again. Now, by June 3rd, they're expecting to file 2 more additional incidents, including the 2022 M for Hire concerning Stephon Mack, and then the 2019 incident that involved King Von, Lil Durk, Bezu, and Hella Bands in Atlanta. Now, according to the motion that helped us find out about the additional incidents that is being presented, it'll state, quote, Mr. Wilson has remained in custody since his initial appearance, now more than 18 months. On May 1st, 2025, the government filed the second superseding indictment charging Mr. Wilson and 5 co-defendants with conspiracy in aiding and abetting use of interstate facilities to commit M for Hire, aiding and abetting stalking, and aiding and abetting the use, carrying, and discharge of firearms, including a machine gun, and furtherance of crimes of violence or resulting in death. Counts 1 and 4 triggered a rebuttal presumption under 18 U.S.C. In February 2026, the government withdrew its proposed Rule 404, evidence concerning the 2022 Chicago incident at the in-limine hearing, ECF number 386 at 4, referring to the withdrawn material as a Chicago incident. On May 13, 2026, the government informed defense counsel that it is considering seeking supplemental charges that would charge the Chicago 2022 incident and an incident from 2019 in Atlanta as direct evidence in this case. On February 26, 2026, the court denied Mr. Wilson's motion to sever, ECF number 386. In doing so, the court observed that the severance motion was considerably stronger before the government's withdrawal of the Chicago incident. The government has now signaled its intention to bring both the Chicago incident and a previously unproposed Atlanta 2019 incident into this case as direct evidence. Neither involves Mr. Wilson. Now, this is why his lawyer wanted to sever him from anybody else within this case, because if they don't have any evidence tying him to any of those other cases, he's basically saying that whatever they trying to bring up from those cases has nothing to do with my client. However, that's not how a RICO works. If you are a part of that criminal organization, they don't care. And this is why they didn't sever him, because they want to charge them all within this RICO as being a criminal organization, which means I don't care how much you did this or that. If you are a part of this criminal organization, you too will be charged. It's just like what they do to the mafia. And they have to prove that it is a criminal organization, which is why they charge them with the RICO in the first place. So if there's no organization, then there's no RICO. One of the reasons why they didn't sever him from this case. And not to mention, if they didn't give Durk any type of bond and he put up all those assets and money, I can't see them giving him a bond when he's the one that they're actually saying or accusing of being the shooter. But on another note, when it comes to OTF Dede, here's what popular New York lawyer Mo had to say about this. Y'all check this out.
Huge update in the Lil Durk case. His defense is probably feeling good this morning after seeing the bond motion filed by OTF Dede. Now, what Dede's bond motion says is quite frankly shocking. He says that on May 13th last week, the government told his lawyer, hey, we might be adding new charges. Excuse me? New charges? This trial was supposed to already happen. It's scheduled for August 20th. Do you know what would happen if new charges were filed? I'll tell you. But first, let's just talk about these new charges and this bond motion. Now, the bond motion being filed by OTF Dede, this is the guy the Fed said would pay the bounties, cause them to be paid. Dede says, first off, hang on, you got to give me a bond for a couple of reasons. First off, the original indictment that said that I was causing the bonds to be paid, that's not even in the new indictment anymore. And then last week, the Fed's sitting here talking about they're about to add charges. How are you going to add charges when the trial should have already happened and is now scheduled to happen? And now you're going to add charges. You're going to keep me locked up forever. Dede's saying you got to let me out. I'm saying, wait a second. If the Feds have you cooked on a murder for hire, you're going to do life for a 2024 LA murder. Why aren't they taking it to trial already? And why, with just 2 months left to trial, they're talking about adding charges from a 2019 Atlanta incident. Newsflash, the 2019 Atlanta incident was investigated, charged by the Fulton County DA, and dismissed. And then there's a Chicago incident. Earlier in this case, they tried to bring that Chicago incident in as evidence. The defense objected. Hey, this has nothing to do with this case. Why are you trying to bring that in? The government said, okay, we'll withdraw it. But with just a couple months left for that trial, August 20th, they want to go and bring back these incidents and these old charges. That tells you something. That tells you that they do not have him dead to rights and that he needs to take a plea or he's going to do life. That tells you his criminal defense is very much alive. And it reiterates the point in every criminal case that as much as the media wants to paint people as cooked or innocent, you never know until the game is played. And so you hold your cards tight and you learn that on day 1 of your arrest, you're not guilty. On day 30, you're not guilty. You could go years of pre-trial, weeks of actual trial, jury seated. But until every single last witness has sang their song and the lawyers have given their closing, you just don't know.
Now let's break it down, y'all. Everyone keeps saying things like, if they already brought it up and they withdrew it before, why are they bringing it back up? Well, it could mean a few things. Maybe they found stronger evidence, or maybe they have an informant, who knows? But here's what I would say. The feds didn't go that hard to find evidence or whatever in that case, tie Durk to it and provide proof showing why they feel he was a part of that case, or for them just to drop it out of nowhere. I said it before, they're not going to put in all that work to just drop that indictment and just say, he's good now. It don't work like that. They had whatever motive to believe he was a part, and also his name was brought up by the suspects on more than one occasion. We also have to keep in mind that whether he's tried or not in that case, the Fed's main goal in a Rico trial is to convince the jury and everyone else that the targets operate as a criminal organization. So when they bring up the case of Stephon Mack, where Durk's name is brought up, and then they bring up the 2019 case where Durk was actually present and involved alongside King Von, Basil, and Hella Bands, who are also OTF members, what that does is paint a picture that OTF is heavily involved in crime. Get it? And as long as they can convince a jury that this is something that these guys do, that's all they care about, because at the end of the day, that's who have to decide on whether these guys get to walk free or not. Keep in mind, it seems like a lot of people are forgetting that they say that they have a few confidential informants within this case. So we don't know what the feds know. We don't know what the feds are being told. We don't know who's cooperating with them. We don't know any of that. But what we do know is the feds are very strategic and they never show their hand. So just know that we don't know what may come out of this situation. We do know that OTF Varney was cooperating. Who knows what he's saying about OTF Dede, Lil Durk, or any of these other guys. Just keep that in mind. Now, when it comes to the trial date getting pushed back, everyone has their own opinions on why these trial dates are getting pushed back, or giving their theory on why Lil Durk and them aren't cooked and how it's looking in their favor. But in all actuality, nobody really knows anything, and I don't think people understand how the feds and them people work in them courtrooms. They do what they want. And let's be real, not to mention, if it was so much in their favor and the feds don't have anything, then these guys would have been out already, or at least granted bond. There's a reason they're being kept. And as we've seen, Lil Durk have offered to put up millions of dollars within assets or money, and yet they have denied him a bunch of times. So clearly there's a reason for it, and we may not know it, but as I always tell y'all, when it comes to trial, especially a federal trial, them people always bring out evidence or information you never knew they had until you already in trial and it's way too late. But I get it. OTF Dede wants to get out of there like everyone else would in his position, but if y'all remember from the beginning when they first started pushing the trials back and we were all confused, it was said that on both sides, which is the prosecutors and attorneys, both agreed to have the trial pushed back due to the complexity of whatever they said it was within the case. So we was all under the impression that every time it was pushed back, both the prosecutors and the attorneys came to an agreement. So with that being said, what changed? And if I'm not mistaken, when he tried to sever himself from Durk and the rest of them, I think that was also a reason they had to prolong everything else before. Not sure, but there's so much going on within this case, it's literally a mess. But as of right now, that's been an update, y'all. OTF Dede is pushing to get a bond. The feds are trying to file additional charges again, and the trial may get delayed for the millionth time once again. Y'all jump in the comments, let me know what y'all think about this. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. And remember, as long as you keep on watching, I'm gonna keep on dropping. I'm out. Are you tired of a bunch of social media gurus promising you results with their course, but all they do is take a bunch of information off YouTube and Google, then sell it to you? Well, look no further. Our YouTube Tips and Tricks Masterclass course comes equipped with SEO tips and tricks, along with methods we use to growth hack our YouTube channel. It also includes step-by-step ways to publish your video before uploading to guarantee a great SEO score, therefore your videos can rank and be shown to a bigger audience. Views and subscribers don't come by luck, and just how YouTube have an algorithm, you should have one as well that can guarantee you results. We doing websites and softwares we personally use to generate money creating Faces YouTube channels. If you also would like to skip the process and just buy other pre-built accounts, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook, we also threw that in there for you too. We went through trial and error, so you don't have to. Click the link in the description or the comments and get started today.